What's up, everyone? The stock market blasted to the upside today as so many stocks just broke out and exploded with a bunch of positive momentum. In this video, we're going to explain why this is happening and the most important things you need to know for the rest of the week, and a couple good stocks to keep on your radar as well. Tom, looking at the heat map from today, we can see multiple different industries and multiple different stocks are up a big amount. Amazon's up 4% today. Tesla's up like almost 2.5%. Apple's booming. There's a lot of green. So fill us in. What happened today?
Yeah, like you said, really green across the board. A lot of tech stocks are up quite a bit today. One of the big ones was Meta and SoFi, Mike. Those two stocks were up quite a bit. SoFi was up 28%. Meta was up 5%. And so many other, I guess you could say, tech and growth plays were really running up. It's nice to see these stocks moving, Mike. They're actually starting to bounce off of some pretty key support levels down here at the bottom. Meta has a pretty good like double or triple bottom right around 155. Now we're all the way up to 168 here in after hours today. So pretty big pushes to the upside this week in general with stocks. Like honestly, like DraftKings had a huge breakout today. Look at the way that they moved over the past 2 days. They've had like back-to-back almost 10% move. So that's huge to see. Obviously, DraftKings is going to be reporting earnings on Friday. So keep them on the radar too. But it's really nice to see stocks going up across the board, Mike. Like you said, the heat map was pretty good. The only sector that was down was oil stocks, believe it or not. I know Oxy actually reported earnings and they actually were pretty good, but nonetheless, they fell kind of right back down today. I will say those oil plays, Mike, were a little bit overextended nonetheless. And there was a big resistance there on Oxy around 66 that we got rejected off of. You can see we're down 6.2%. That's actually a pretty bad drop. And when you look at oil intraday, it looks pretty bad. But other than oil, though, most stocks were up. Like you said, Apple, Microsoft, most of the bigger stocks started really breaking out. And what I really like is when I look at Apple and Microsoft specifically, they're starting to really break some of those key resistances from this week. Like Apple had a big one right around 164 that we broke out of. Microsoft had some big levels that we broke out of as well at the end of the day at 280. So overall, great movement across the board.
I love to see it. I know you mentioned Meta a couple minutes ago, formerly known as Facebook. Meta is one of my favorite stocks to own for the long term. They're at a really good level in my opinion. And like you said, they're up a little over 5% today. But I just wanted to emphasize this one more time because, a lot of tech stocks have had a wild year, to say the least, but I feel like Meta is especially at a really good level, and part of the reason they were popping today is because they are exploring a potential bond sale similar to what Apple did recently. This is pretty good overall for like powerhouse companies like Meta and Apple, in my opinion, but I just wanted to emphasize it one more time before we moved on.
Yeah, that is a pretty big stock here, Mike, and they are running up right into a pretty big resistance around 170. Honestly, with the way it's looking and the way we're bouncing off support, I would have a pretty good feeling we might have a pretty good breakout on our hands. So hopefully we keep seeing some nice positive momentum coming in here, maybe tomorrow and Friday to end the week. So I'll definitely be keeping this one on the radar. I also noticed that Square or Block was up quite a bit, Mike, quite a bit too. They're going to be reporting earnings pretty soon as well. And this was another big mover today, up 11%. I know it's not in the same sector as Meta, but still another tech stock that's really low right now that's starting to rip back up. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on this. I know they have that big CEO, Jack Dorsey, over there, kind of like how Meta has Mark Zuckerberg. I know every company has like some of those big names. I know Zucky and Dorsey are some of the bigger ones out there.
Yep. So speaking of earnings, I know you mentioned Block, but what else is on the schedule?
Yeah, tomorrow before open, we're actually going to have Alibaba reporting. That's going to be pretty big. We had Lucid report tonight, which we'll go into in a few minutes. But yeah, Baba tomorrow before open, along with Datadog, and then Penn Gaming is one of those casino stocks down there at the bottom to keep your eye on too. And then after close, we have AMC, Square or Block, and then Twilio, even Carvana, which has been pretty interesting lately. That chart is honestly insane if you guys check that one out. But yeah, my favorite tomorrow, Mike, is probably going to be Block. Alibaba is going to be very important before open as well. I know a lot of people have been pretty upset with the China stocks lately, especially since all their threats against Pelosi over the past week.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, good stuff there. And then, Tom, what is the big news from today with a couple of these stocks?
Yeah, so SoFi, honestly, Mike, they had a really good earnings report here. Like they say here, they had a bank charter, and they said that it could not have came at a better time. They recently got a charter here that helped them honestly kind of get more into banking and stuff like that. They said their revenue increased to 362 million from 231 million. So that's pretty big. And they were analysts were only expecting 344 million on that revenue. So that's really big to see on revenue there. And whenever you scroll down, something that I saw that was really interesting, Mike, is they said that the charter helped them out so much that it took them 3 years in the beginning to accumulate their first $1 billion of deposits. And after they got the charter, it took just 3 months to grow another 1.6 billion. I thought that was really interesting. And that just goes to show how much this charter has been helping them. And there's been some pretty big statements out by some bigger analysts with some banks and stuff like that, where they're really looking at SoFi in a pretty good way. So it's nice to see them going up, Mike. And this is a huge move on the chart. 28%. When you look at it on like a 5 minute chart, it looks even better.
Yeah, very true. SoFi is one of those growth stocks that has been demolished over the past year. It has had highs of $24.65 and lows of $4.82. Right now, it's a little over $8. So, relatively speaking, it's still oversold. It's a volatile stock, and it's not uncommon to see big moves out of this one in either direction, but it is pretty oversold.
Yeah, it is. And with all the big news coming in, I would not be surprised if this one maybe started to get some good positive momentum coming in. I will say I don't expect, anything like back to back 28% days or anything like that. But, I maybe could see SoFi popping up to around maybe $10 or so over the next few weeks. I think that would be a pretty safe move back up into some of these bigger resistance levels. But I'm definitely going to keep that on the radar with everything going on. And then, Mike, we also had Lucid report earnings tonight. And unfortunately, they're going to be cutting production targets. So this is not looking good here. They said they do have 37,000 reservations for their Lucid Air sedan, but they only delivered 679 cars in the second quarter. So this doesn't sound good, Mike. You can see here on the chart, Lucid, if we go to the 5 minute, is down quite a bit. They closed today around $20.60. Now they're trading for $18.20. Definitely not the earnings report we were hoping for.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. Can you go back to the article really quickly?
Yeah, definitely.
So we can see, like you just said, they only delivered 679 cars in the second quarter, but they have over 37,000 reservations. Like, that's a problem. That's a big problem. So Lucid, it has a lot of hype still. It has potential, but they have some serious problems that they need to fix before they become a respected name in the auto industry.
Yeah, and they're saying that they're only expecting to deliver 6,000 to 7,000 vehicles this year total. So definitely not good. Yeah, they definitely have a long way to go. How many more earnings reports are we going to have to hear where they're having bad production numbers before, something finally starts to give with some of these stocks like Lucid? I know that like Rivian on the past one I thought did a little bit better. So hopefully we see more smaller companies do a little bit better than Lucid has. But nonetheless, their stock's down quite a bit. That is pretty scary, Mike, and that does worry me going forward here. I was definitely hoping to see this go a little bit more in the positive direction. So definitely not the earnings move we were hoping for with Lucid. But if this would have went well, Mike, it could have been a move kind of like SoFi. SoFi was one of those outliers where it actually went positive for us. So, hey, at least we have one good one to talk about today.
True that. So on a different note, I know we have a couple people looking at Ford stock. Tom, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly, it looks pretty good. I know we saw some comments about this one last night, and it's honestly ripping up a ton lately. They've been really going up. I will say, though, guys, be very careful with this one. Looking at the daily chart here, you can see that we're starting to get some overbought signals come in from the algo here. And this is the same area. We got some overbought signals from the algo in the past, last June. So keep this on the radar. I'm actually going to mark this down here, Mike, as a pretty good area of resistance, somewhere really close to like $16 to $17. There's been a ton of bounces here on this stock there. So definitely watch for Ford over the next few days. It has a lot of momentum right now, but I will say you can see it's went straight up pretty much from $12.50 all the way up to highs today of pretty much 16.15. So that's a pretty big jump there in just pretty much a week and a half.
Yeah, so Ford's an interesting one, whether you're looking at it at the like technical stock price action or on a fundamental level. Like it's nice to see that they're adapting more to the electric vehicle market, but their fundamentals aren't necessarily grade A. Their market cap is around $63 billion. Tesla's market cap is right around $963 billion. Another kind of scary thing about Ford is that right now they have, $19.5 billion in cash, which is awesome, but they have $109 billion in debt, which is, it makes that cash seem not as good. Now, in turn, it's trading at a much cheaper valuation than Tesla in multiple different ways. Ford's price to sales ratio is only around 0.42, where on the other hand, Tesla's price to sales ratio is 14.2. So, Ford's an interesting one. It's not necessarily for me, but I'm not against it either.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. It's not my favorite stock at this moment. I will say though, if you could buy it up at a better time, I think it would be a pretty good stock to own for the longer term. I just feel like in the shorter term here, we are a little bit overbought and we are getting those signals on the algo. So I'm definitely going to be careful with it over the next few days. But while it has the momentum, I'll definitely watch it day by day, maybe watch it for some quick day trades or something. You can see like this morning at market open, it really ripped above that 1550 resistance and started exploding all the way up to like 1615. So it can have those pretty big intraday moves, but I'm with you, Mike. It does seem a little bit scary here in the short term.
Alrighty. Well, guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day and we're always improving. So make sure to subscribe. But Tom, it's time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Shopify to the upside.
Yeah, Shopify had a pretty good day today. Go ahead and make them break above 42.20. That's actually just above the high of day today.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have Meta, also to the upside.
Yeah, I knew we were going to talk about this one. Go ahead and make them break above 169.50.
Boom. And then with the last one, we have Microsoft, but this one we need both levels.
Both levels. Okay, so with Microsoft here, go ahead and make them break above, right above that high of day there, right around 283.55. And then to the downside, go ahead and make them fall below, I would say down below 281.30.
Perfect. So we are watching Microsoft, Meta, and Shopify for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then for Microsoft, we are also watching it for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Power Sport. So huge shout out to Power Sport. Thank you so much for being a longtime supporter of us on YouTube and in Discord. So Tom and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the support. But Tom, do you have any other important things you want to talk about or any favorite setups heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I just figured I'd talk about some of these bigger moves again, Mike. I mean, it was a really good day in the stock market. Honestly, it's been a really good past few weeks. So I wanted to kind of look at the SPY one more time here. Honestly, yesterday we talked a lot about the SPY breaking out above that 413 resistance, and we really saw that happen today in the middle of the day. You can see we drew this purple resistance level here right around 413. We got that big explosion up all the way up to 415.50 at the end of the day before SPY started pulling back down. So since we're finally breaking out of that range that we were in for the past week or so, I'm definitely going to watch for some more momentum here to the upside, especially with a lot of stocks running up. Like we mentioned, Mike, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, all of those stocks had pretty good days, and they're starting to finally like break out of some of these resistance levels here. Amazon was just consolidating all day long up at the top. So I'm definitely going to be watching that one for either a rejection or a good breakout. Whichever way, you can definitely find some good momentum probably tomorrow morning with a lot of these setups, Mike. These are some pretty big moves that we saw happen, and it looks like some buyers are starting to come in here. So hopefully we can end the week strong. Even the airlines were up today. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the only sector that was truly in the red today was pretty much the oil stocks like Oxy, Zom, and stocks like that.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Let us know some of your favorite stocks that you were watching in the comments down below, and we might cover them in tomorrow's video. Besides that, let's have an amazing end to the week.